Good morning, YouTube. This is your lovely host, Joshua, at Bookworm at Common Sense. I've been watching and rewatching some YouTube videos and mulling over my last video, and I really wanted to add maybe a little depth perception or clarity to everything and to sum everything up for those of you that don't want to watch an hour-long video. In a nutshell, I gave a brief update of everything going on with me and with school, and I answered or did a response video to Ashley Mardell, who posed the question, what do we call a queer person? And in sum, my answer is queer. Whether we're lesbian, gay, bi, trans, demi, two-soul, queer, questioning, asexual, androgynous. My mind just went, it's gone. I can't think of any more sexualities or genders offhand, which I can just quote off the top of my head. But in some, I said queer. And the reason is because it's broad, it's inclusive, albeit sometimes derogatory, which I think it needs to be reclaimed. It doesn't need to be derogatory. And, to go all Shakespearean on you, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Just because you're calling yourself or defining yourself by one label doesn't mean another label will change who, what, or what you are. A label is just that. It's a label. It's a name. Nomenclature. It is something by which we define ourselves or others define us by, so they know how we relate to each other. I can say all day long I am this or I am that, and someone else can say, no, you're this or that. And, that is our perception. That is how we view ourselves in relation to another. Let me take, for instance, my Dr. Pepper and this pair of scissors. Sorry for the slurping sound. I kind of wanted to get some moisture in my throat as I talk. The Dr. Pepper can say to the scissors all day long that it looks like a nice lever, because you gotta pop that top. But the scissors can say, no, I'm not a lever. I'm actually a sharp cutting instrument. I'm a pair of scissors. Well, it doesn't matter that the Dr. Pepper views the scissors as a lever, because the scissors don't view themselves as a lever. It's just how it views it in relation to itself. Same with the scissors. It can say to the Dr. Pepper, my, you look like a nice red, what's something cylindrical? cylinder. A nice red cylinder. Well, yes, in fact, it is cylindrical. But the Dr. Pepper could go, no, I am not a nice red cylinder. I am a container. A red container. I know my analogy doesn't make any sense, but it's how we view ourselves in relation to ourselves and each other. That is why we have labels. It's why we have names. To pull a page out of one of my old sort of witchy instruction things where I sort of quasi give witchy advice. There's this book I've got. It's called A Witch's 10 Commandments. I'm not sure if any of you have ever heard of it. But it's a nice and interesting read. It compares the biblical 10 Commandments to 10 more or less commandments for the average witch. On my Facebook page I have a note that has one and then the other. Some of my friends accused me of trying to start an argument or debate, which was not the case. I was just, putting everything out there because that was the time I was coming out of the broom closet. I'm eventually going to read you all 10 of these for the purpose of my message here. I really want to emphasize two things. Well, actually, let's make that three. The first of them is, thou art God and Goddess. I mean, we all have the divine in us, which is the emphasis behind Namaste. The divine in me recognizes the divine in you. The second of these 10 commandments is, as above, so below, as within, so without. This is a macrocosm, microcosm. I am in you, you are in me, we are in the universe is in us. And, that just means we are all linked together. We are all one. The third commandment, and the one that I really wanted to emphasize here, is spirit abides in all things. Words and names have power. Well, when I talk about names and cultures and words and everything, I often will shorten this to words and names have power. You see it in archaic texts, you see it in magical writings, you see it in older stories. Take Aladdin, for example, Aladdin the King of Thieves. Open sesame. That is, or abracadabra. Those are words of power, just like a name. That is why most witches or Wiccans take a second name, a craft name, for everyone to know them by, to protect who they are, because words and names have power, and they don't want anyone to have power over them. And in saying this, yes, I have a magical name, but I kind of view it as the opposite, because the mundane or common name which we are given at birth is already known to everyone. As long as you don't give out your birth date, your full birth date, you'll be fine. Mostly. Some people who are very bad would maybe try and do something that they shouldn't. But I view the magical name as the one to protect, so I don't readily give it out. Um, but in saying that, words have power. That's why we use words like gay and lesbian and bi, or in my case, demi, to define us in relation to each other and ourselves, because there's power in those words. They take a hold of us and say, yes, I am. And I think that's how we should view queer. Yes, I am queer. That, problem solved. And I think it is fairly interesting that I've been mulling this over for a day or so, and I've come up with just that much more to say about it. And I know I'm mixing, witchy topics and gay and lesbian topics, or, no, let me rephrase that, and queer topics. But that's alright, because it works. It's a factual argument that I can use to help people see the way I view things. And I view things a lot differently than you might. But it's those labels or our feelings towards those labels which will either draw us together or force us apart. And I would rather us all come together as a community to help better ourselves and the community around us. So, you know what? Leave a comment in the description, or leave a comment below the description in the comment section about what you think about my opinions, and please go check out my hour-long video I did, because while it is long, you will find a vast array of information that you may or may not have known was there before. So, happy hunting, learners, and I will catch y'all on the flip side, because gotta turn that page. Those books, yeah, those books. Good night, bookworms.